Chosen one, you have been noticing something in the mirror. Maybe there is more hair in the brush. Maybe the texture feels different. Maybe the shine seems gone. Or maybe the person looking back at you carries less life than before. Before you blame your age, buy another solution, or decide your best years are behind you, pause. Your hair may not be the first problem. It may be the first place you noticed the cost of a season your mind and body carried in silence. That does not mean every change is spiritual. It does not mean you should ignore medical care. But the signal deserves attention because your reflection may be showing what your inner life has struggled to say. Think about the moments nobody sees. You check your part under a brighter light. You compare an old photo with the face you see today. Deep down, you wonder whether something in you is disappearing. That fear is the first illusion we must break. Your hair is not your identity. A change in appearance is not a verdict on your worth. It is not proof that your power is gone. The mirror can show a signal, but it cannot define your whole story. I call this the mirror signal. It is the moment when one visible change begins carrying every hidden fear. A strand of hair becomes a story about age. A tired reflection becomes a story about decline. But stories can feel true long before they are true. So, today, we begin with separation. What is happening deserves care. What you tell yourself about it deserves examination. Those are not the same thing. One may require rest, testing, or professional guidance. The other may require a new way of seeing yourself. You are not being asked to deny what you see. You are being asked to stop turning it into a sentence against yourself. Notice the signal, respect the signal, then refuse to call it your destiny. Why did your hair become the place where you finally noticed the cost? Why now, after everything you survived? Stay with me, because the answer begins beneath the surface. It begins with the part of you that carried too much without enough restoration. Before we go further, write returning in the comments. Not because everything is fixed. Write it because you are no longer willing to call yourself finished. You are not fading. You may be tired. You may feel unfamiliar to yourself. You may look at your reflection and see only what changed. But change is not disappearance. A difficult season can alter how you look and feel, but it does not erase the person beneath it. Many people make the same painful mistake. They take one visible symptom and use it to predict their future. More hair in the sink becomes proof that life is against them. Less volume becomes proof that youth is gone. The body shows one thing, and the mind writes a tragedy around it. You may know this pattern. You adjust your hair before a photo. You avoid harsh lighting. You study old pictures and search for the moment everything changed. Then you hide the worry, because you fear someone will call it vanity. But this was never only about appearance. It was about recognition. You want to recognize yourself again. You want to feel the spark behind your eyes. And when the mirror does not give you that feeling, you assume the worst. Listen carefully. A symptom can be real without becoming your identity. A concern can deserve attention without becoming a prophecy. That is not denial. That is wisdom. The first breakthrough is simple. Stop saying, "This is who I am now." Say, "This is what I am noticing now." One sentence creates a prison. One closes the future. The other allows you to respond. That response may include rest. It may include a medical check. The cause will not be the same for everyone. No honest message should pretend to diagnose you. But shame does not heal what attention can reveal. You survived more than people know. You kept showing up when your energy was low. You carried responsibilities while your needs waited. None of that proves weakness. It proves you adapted. Survival can become so familiar that you forget it was meant to be temporary. So look again, but look differently. Do not search for proof that you are losing value. Ask what needs support. Ask what your body has tried to communicate without words. The signal appeared now because something in you is ready to stop surviving on automatic. What if the heaviness you see outside began with a fog you learned to live inside? The fog rarely arrives all at once. It enters quietly. You walk into a room and forget why you came. You open several tabs and finish none. You delay one important task, then call yourself lazy. You feel tired before the day begins, yet your mind will not settle when it ends. This is what I call the survival veil. It is not a diagnosis, it is a pattern. When pressure lasts too long, the mind focuses on what is urgent, familiar, and safe. You keep functioning, but deeper thinking and creativity begin to feel distant. Then shame begins. You ask why you cannot focus. You remember how quickly you once learned. Now, even caring for yourself feels like another task on a crowded list. But what if you are not lazy? What if your system learned to protect before it creates? What if the sharp part of you is not gone, but harder to reach under pressure? That changes the meaning of everything. The missed task is no longer proof of failure. The lack of motivation is no longer a character flaw. These may be signs that your inner receiver is overloaded. And this is where your hair returns to the story. The mirror gave you a visible sign. The fog has been the invisible cost. The other shaped your choices, routines, and ability to recognize what you need. You may scroll for an hour, yet feel sleepy when meaningful work begins. You may care deeply, but react sharply because your mind has no quiet space left. These contradictions do not mean you are broken. Your current state may be working against your deeper intention. Start with one small act of agency. Create 8 minutes without notifications. Sit somewhere quiet. Let your mind stop answering the world. You are showing your system that it is safe to pause. There is another reason to notice those 8 minutes. A team spent years exploring a targeted auditory sequence designed around how both sides of the brain coordinate. It does not replace action, care, or professional guidance. It was built as daily support for people who feel cut off from clarity. I will explain what it is later. For now, keep this question open. What if the fog is not your identity, but a condition that can be supported? The next discovery reaches deeper. There was a time when your mind moved with more freedom. You trusted what came to you. So what happened to that version of you? And why does it still feel close enough to remember? Chosen one, there was a time when your mind moved with freedom. You noticed small details. You imagined whole worlds. You asked questions without shame. Learning felt natural because curiosity was stronger than fear. Then life became heavier. Rules replaced wonder. Survival replaced play. You learned to choose what was safe, repeat what was expected, and silence ideas before anyone else could reject them. Little by little, the child who trusted possibility became an adult who questioned every step. But that child is not gone. The ability to imagine, connect, and create did not simply vanish. It may still be present beneath years of pressure, habit, and self-protection. What changed was not your worth. What changed was your access. This matters more than you think. When people lose access to their natural clarity, they often blame age. They say the sharpness is gone. They say creativity belongs to the past. Yet many abilities become harder to reach because daily life keeps the mind trapped in repetition. Your hair became important because it was visible. You could see the strands. You could feel the texture. You could compare the reflection. But the loss of clarity happened quietly, one distracted day at a time, until the fog felt normal. That is why this message is not asking you to become someone new. It is asking you to return. You do not need to install a different identity. You need conditions that allow the hidden parts of you to work together again. Remember one moment from childhood when you felt fully alive. Maybe you drew for hours. Maybe you built things. Maybe you solved problems before anyone explained the rules. That memory is not proof that your best self is gone. It is evidence that your mind once knew another way to move. You are standing at a threshold now, and the signal has become impossible to ignore. The old way of surviving has carried you far, but it cannot lead the next chapter. The question is no longer whether you still have potential. The question is whether the different parts of your mind can begin communicating like allies again. Your mind is not divided into a good side and a bad side. It is more complex than that. Different regions support different functions. Some help with language and sequence. Others support pattern, emotion, space, and wider forms of recognition. The power does not come from choosing one side. It comes from coordination. Logic without intuition can become rigid. Intuition without structure can remain unfinished. An idea needs imagination, but it also needs order before it can become real. Research into split-brain patients helped science understand this more clearly. Dr. Roger Sperry became widely known for work on functional specialization within the two hemispheres. He received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1981. That history does not prove every modern brain tool works. It gives us a useful foundation. The brain contains specialized systems, yet daily life depends on communication across those systems. Your clearest moments often appear when insight and organization stop fighting each other. Think about your own decisions. Sometimes you know what is right, but you cannot explain it. Other times you build a perfect plan, yet feel no energy to begin. One part senses the direction. Another part demands certainty. The result is delay. This can feel like bad luck. You see the opportunity too late. You understand the lesson after the moment passes. You have a strong idea, then lose it under doubt and distraction. But delay is not always evidence that life is against you. Try this simple exercise today. Choose one decision you have avoided. On one page, write what I know. On another, write what I sense. Do not force them to agree. Look for one small action that respects both. That action may be a phone call. It may be a boundary. It may be 10 focused minutes on the project you keep postponing. The goal is not perfection. The goal is to let insight and structure meet. When those inner functions begin operating, something shifts. You stop waiting for complete certainty. You become more able to recognize the next honest step, and the next sign is the one many people mistake for a curse. It appears in families, careers, relationships, and repeated endings. It looks like bad luck, but it often has an address. Some families carry the same story for generations. A talented person almost succeeds, then stops. Money arrives, then disappears. Love begins with hope, then repeats an old wound. Everyone calls it bad luck because nobody can see the pattern underneath. You may have heard words like curse or destiny. Maybe those words helped explain years of disappointment. Pain often becomes spiritual language when ordinary language feels too small. But a repeated pattern can be real without being untouchable. Fear can be learned. Avoidance can be modeled. A child can absorb the way adults react to risk, conflict, money, or love, then repeat those reactions without knowing where they began. Over time, repetition feels like fate. The family expects loss, so everyone prepares for loss. People hesitate at the edge of opportunity. They mistrust peace. They return to familiar struggle because familiar pain feels safer than an unfamiliar future. This does not make every setback your fault. It means some reactions have an address, and what has an address can be noticed. You may be the first person willing to pause before repeating it. That pause matters. A cycle does not break through shame. It breaks when one person sees the old response and chooses a different one. Maybe your family taught you to expect disappointment. Maybe rest was treated like laziness. Those messages can live inside a person long after the original voices are gone. You do not have to solve your entire family history today. You only need to notice which state is making your next decision. Is it clarity or fear? Is it presence or panic? Is it your choice or an old reflex wearing your voice? This is where agency returns. You can seek support. You can learn new responses. You can create space before acting. You can stop calling every repeated ending a prophecy. Yet recognition alone is not enough. The person who sees the pattern still needs a mind steady enough to choose differently. The cycle breaker needs more than awareness. The cycle breaker needs access to attention, order, and inner cooperation. So the next question becomes practical. How do you support the mind that must make the new choice, especially when fog and pressure have become normal? Chosen one, the receiver is not a hidden organ. It is the state from which you notice, organize, and respond. It is your attention. It is your ability to hold a thought long enough to act on it. When the receiver is clear, opportunity feels visible. A useful idea stays with you. A warning becomes easier to respect. A decision can move from instinct into structure because the parts of your mind are no longer pulling in opposite directions. When the receiver is overloaded, everything changes. Guidance feels vague. Simple choices feel heavy. You may sense what to do, yet lose the thought before it becomes action. Then life appears closed, even when the next step is already near. This is why clarity matters. It is not only about working faster, it affects what you recognize, what you remember, and what you are able to complete. A fogged receiver can make an open door look like another wall. But honesty matters here. I cannot know what caused every change in your hair. No responsible voice can promise a result for your appearance. No tool can replace medical care, sleep, nutrition, prayer, or action. What I can show you is the pattern. Fog changes the way you interpret yourself. Pressure changes the way you respond. Repetition turns temporary states into identities. Then, the identity begins making choices on your behalf. You are not the fog. You are the person noticing it. That difference restores agency. The moment you can observe a state, you are no longer completely controlled by it. Earlier, I mentioned an 8-minute auditory sequence. It was developed as a simple daily support for people who feel disconnected from clarity. It does not make decisions for you. It is designed to support the state from which better decisions may become easier. In the next part, you will see why that state matters more than motivation. You will also see how a small daily practice can support the relationship between insight and action. But first, hold this question. What begins to change when the receiver becomes clear enough to recognize what was already trying to reach you? Imagine waking tomorrow without immediately searching for what is wrong. You look into the mirror, you notice your hair, but you do not turn it into a verdict. You breathe. You choose care before criticism. That is the beginning of the returning radiance. It is not a promise that every outer change disappears. It is the return of presence. It is the moment your reflection stops acting like a courtroom. Now imagine sitting before the decision you have postponed. The next step no longer feels buried beneath 10 competing thoughts. You do not become fearless. You become clear enough to move, while uncertainty is still present. That is a different kind of power, because real progress rarely waits for perfect confidence. This is the future many people actually want. They want energy, but they also want direction. They want peace, but they also want the ability to finish what matters. They want to trust themselves again. The gap between that future and today is not only time, it is the state from which you live. A scattered state creates scattered choices. A clearer state makes small actions easier to repeat. No tool can build your future for you, but the right support can help create conditions where your own effort becomes more usable. It can help you pause, receive, and organize before the world pulls you back into reaction. That is why the 8-minute sequence matters. It is a targeted auditory experience designed around coordinated brain activity. The goal is whole brain activation through a method called neural sync technology. It may suit people who often feel foggy. It may suit people who miss their creativity. It may suit those who are tired of complicated routines and can honestly give 8 quiet minutes each day. It is not for someone seeking a miracle. It is not a hair treatment. It does not replace care, discipline, or personal responsibility. It is a support tool for the receiver. The reason this tool exists begins with a neurologist in New York City. His name is Dr. Daniel Barone. His team spent years developing a digital audio sequence for people who feel that their clarity has gone quiet. Before you hear the offer, you need to understand the foundation and the experiences behind it. Because the surprising part is not only that some people felt sharper, it is what they began noticing after clarity returned. The foundation begins with a simple idea. Different brain functions become more useful when coordination improves. Dr. Roger Sperry helped expand scientific understanding of specialization across the 2 hemispheres. He received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1981. That history matters, but it does not prove any modern audio product. Think of daily life. Creativity produces an idea, structure shapes it, intuition senses a direction, logic tests the next step. When these abilities cooperate, action becomes more coherent. The product team also refers to claims about strong creative ability in children and much lower rates in adults. Treat those figures as claims from their presentation, not as universal scientific facts. Many adults remember feeling imaginative and quick when young. Later, pressure and repetition make that freedom harder to access. One user from California described this change personally. She worked as a nurse and felt trapped in brain fog. Life seemed to happen around her while she struggled to feel fully present. After using the sequence, she said it felt like a blocked channel had opened. She reported less stress and more connection. Her experience is personal and does not guarantee the same result for everyone. Another user from Manhattan grew up hearing that her family carried bad luck. Effort often stopped just before success. She began seeing those events differently. After using the tool and making new choices, she described improvements in work and love. The audio did not break a curse. Her story reflects one person's actions and interpretation. These stories do not replace evidence. They felt enough clarity to notice choices they had previously missed. Now the mystery can close. Dr. Daniel Barone and his team developed a digital audio tool built around neural sync technology. Next, you will hear what it is, how to use it, and what the complete offer includes. Chosen one, the mystery now has a name. It is called the Genius Switch. It is a digital audio track introduced by Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist in New York City, for people who feel cut off from clarity. The track uses a targeted auditory sequence called neural sync technology. Its purpose is to support whole brain activation, which means helping the 2 sides of the mind work with greater coordination. You listen with headphones, close your eyes, and give it 8 quiet minutes. That is the daily protocol. There is no complicated ritual. You do not need to repeat a mantra or write pages of affirmations. The audio does not think for you. It does not make choices for you. It does not replace sleep, nutrition, prayer, medical support, or honest action. It is designed to support the state from which those choices may become easier to recognize and complete. Many free tracks online carry impressive labels, but a label does not prove that the audio contains the same sequence. The official version is distributed through the creator's own website, not through Amazon, Spotify, or random audio channels. That does not mean every free track is useless. It means you cannot assume every recording uses the same method. The Genius Switch is not for someone seeking a miracle that removes all responsibility. It is not a hair treatment. It is not a promise that one session will transform your life. It may fit someone who feels foggy and wants a simple 8-minute routine. Choose a time when you will not be disturbed. Put on your headphones, sit or lie down safely. Close your eyes and listen for 8 minutes. Do not use it while driving or doing anything that demands full attention. You can listen in the morning or before focused work. If you miss a day, return the next day without shame. According to the provider, more than 18,000 people have used the program, and the sales page features many 5-star reviews. These are seller-reported claims. One user from Texas said fog had become so normal that he stopped noticing it. After using the track, he reported feeling as though more of his mind was available again. That is one personal experience, not a guarantee. You may be thinking, I have tried audio programs before. That concern is reasonable. Many people have listened to meditation tracks or relaxing music and felt little change. The creators position this track differently because it uses a targeted sequence designed around coordination, not simply a relaxing soundtrack. Still, the only responsible way to judge personal fit is through your own experience. You may also think it sounds too good to be true. Dr. Roger Sperry's work helped explain functional specialization across the hemispheres, but his Nobel Prize does not prove this product will work for you. Some people may notice changes, others may not. That is why the risk reversal matters. The official offer includes a full money-back guarantee under the conditions on the sales page. You can try the program and request a refund if it does not fit those terms. Now consider the time objection. 8 minutes can feel impossible when the day is crowded. Yet many people lose more time checking a phone, switching between tabs, or preparing to begin something they continue to avoid. This is not about shame. 8 minutes will not solve every problem, but it may create a daily point of stillness. The provider says colleagues once valued the program at around $500. The listed price was later shown as $49. At the time described in this offer, the official page presents access for $39. That payment includes lifetime access. There is no shipping charge because the program is delivered through email. The provider warns that the price may increase, but no one should claim a change will happen on a specific day. The offer also includes 4 bonuses. The first is a guided visualization focused on money, love, health, and happiness. It helps you picture a desired future, but it does not guarantee that visualization alone will create results. The second is a smart grocery shopping guide. It discusses 10 common foods. The guide connects with brain fog, along with 5 shopping strategies. It is not a replacement for medical or nutritional advice. The third is a classic manifestation book written more than 100 years ago. It focuses on prosperity thinking. The fourth is an infographic built around 5 habits for an ideal future. You can print the infographic as a reminder that clarity matters when it becomes repeated action. So the real decision is not whether a track can live your life for you. It cannot. The decision is whether you want a simple tool that may support the state from which you live it. The cost of waiting is not a curse. It is another day when fog may keep deciding what gets delayed. Do not purchase from fear. Read the official information, review the guarantee, and decide whether you will give 8 quiet minutes each day. The Genius Switch is available through the official page, linked in the description and the pinned comment. Use the official source, study the terms, and make a clear decision for yourself. Now leave the price, the bonuses, and the page behind for a moment. Return to the mirror. Return to the signal that brought you here. The tool may support clarity, but it cannot decide what clarity will mean in your life. A resource can create space. It can help you pause. It can support attention, but it cannot love your family for you, tell the truth for you, or take the next honest step in your place. That is where the sacred part begins, not in a promise that everything outside changes overnight. It begins when you stop abandoning yourself inside the life you already have. Imagine sitting with someone you love. Maybe it is your child, your partner, or a parent. This time, you are not answering from exhaustion. You listen to the whole sentence. You do not reach for your phone. You do not turn a small concern into a battle. You notice the old reaction rising, and you create a pause before it becomes another wound. That pause may look ordinary, but ordinary moments shape families. One regulated response can change the atmosphere of a room because people feel the difference between being heard and being managed. This is how a cycle begins to break, not through one dramatic speech. It breaks when presence replaces panic, and when a person chooses not to pass their fear into the next conversation. Now think about your hair again. The strands did not become proof of a miracle. They became a symbol of how you had been treating yourself. Maybe you touched your hair with fear. Maybe you searched for damage before you noticed your own face. Maybe every glance became an accusation. The returning radiance begins when that changes. You touch your hair with care. You look at your reflection without asking it to earn compassion. You choose support because you matter now, not only after your appearance changes. Something divine can be simple. It can be the moment you stop using the mirror as a courtroom. It can be the moment you seek help without shame. It can be the moment you choose rest before collapse. It can also be the moment clarity returns enough for you to recognize an opportunity, set a boundary, finish a task, or apologize without defending yourself. This is why the message was never only about productivity. A clearer mind can change the way you work, but it can also change the way you enter a room. It can change what your family receives from your presence. The resource mentioned earlier remains in the description and the pinned comment. Read it carefully and decide from clarity rather than fear. Then return to yourself. You are not fading. You are not finished. You are not the fog that covered you. You are the one becoming able to see again. The mirror was never announcing your end. It was asking whether you were ready to stop surviving without support. It was asking whether you could care for the person who carried you this far. Now, chosen one, you can answer. Chosen one, the receiver is the state from which you notice, choose, and act. When it is covered by fog, an open door can look like another wall. When it becomes clearer, you begin to recognize what was already near. The world may not change in one night. Your hair may not change on command. Your circumstances may still require patience, care, and practical help. But the way you meet your life can begin to change now. That is the final truth. The signal outside was never meant to become a sentence against you. It was an invitation to notice what had been neglected inside. Restoration does not begin by hating the person you are today. It begins when you stop calling a temporary state your permanent identity. You are not the exhaustion. You are not the delay. You are not the reflection you feared. You are the person who can observe the pattern. You are the person who can seek support. You are the person who can choose again. So let this become your declaration. I am not fading. I am not the fog I have lived through. I release the story that my reflection determines my worth. I receive the clarity to recognize what is already near me. I choose care over punishment. I choose presence over panic. I do not need to begin from nothing. I am returning to the strength that pressure made difficult to reach. Say it again within yourself. I am returning. Write, I am returning in the comments. Let those words become a commitment, not to perfection, but to the next honest step. Like this message, if it helped you see yourself differently. Share it with someone who has mistaken exhaustion for an ending. May clarity meet you where confusion has lived. May courage guide you toward the support you need. May gentleness replace the voice that has punished you for surviving. May your next decision come from presence. May your home feel the difference. May your work receive the part of you that is ready to create again. And when you look into the mirror, may you remember this. Your appearance can ask for care without becoming your identity. Your body can send a signal without declaring your destiny. Chosen one. The change was never only about what you saw in the mirror. It was about the moment you finally remembered that the person in the mirror was still worth returning to.